Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Crypt. My name is Burton, and this is another edition of Lost in the Dark Reviews. Today we are going to be reviewing Children of Bodom's 10th studio album, Hexed. For those of you that don't know, Children of Bodom is a Finnish melodic death metal band. They were formed originally, quick bio, they were formed originally in 1993 as the band Inearthed by founding members Alexi Leho, lead vocals and guitar, and drummer Jaska. Now, though, they consist of Johnny Werman on keyboards, Henka T. Blacksmith on bass, and Daniel Freiberg on rhythm guitar. Hexed is the first album featuring Daniel Freiberg. He replaced Rope Latvala. Rope left, I think, in 2015 or 16. Daniel Freiberg joined in 2016. Rope has been in the band since his first album with the band was Are You Dead Yet? Back in 2005. Alexi Leho is still currently the main songwriter of the band, and one of the big differences. Now, see, here's the thing: is with this album, for me, it was difficult trying to figure out what angle to come at for this review. I'm someone who really needs like I can't put out a good review within like the first 2 days of getting the album. I really need to get to know the album in order to review it well. And so I'm not someone I could listen to it 20 times the first day and put out a quick review, but I don't feel like that would be my most accurate representation of I would feel like I was being disingenuous to the album without really getting to know it. And this is one of my most anticipated albums of the year by far. Children of Bodom, I've been a fan since 2005, 6, something like that. And they have not been to Michigan without me being there since October 2008. Was the very first time I saw them on the Blood Drunk tour at Clutch Cargo's in Pontiac, Michigan, a venue that's not even there anymore. It was Skeleton Witch, Austrian Death Machine, The Black Dahlia Murder, all opening for Children of Bodom on the Blood Drunk tour, and it was a fucking amazing show that I will never forget. And since then, and since I first heard them, pretty much, they have been one of my top 3 bands of all time. I'm a gigantic Children of Bodom fan. To me, Alexi Leho is a modern-day Randy Rhoads. I think he's an incredible guitarist, and he's one of the ones that inspired me to pick up a guitar, and I fucking absolutely love him. So he's the main principal songwriter for this album. Now, one of the big differences from this album to others is they actually got an artist to paint their cover. It's not an image that was made on a computer or anything like that by a graphic designer or someone like that. This one is an actual piece of art. And full disclosure, when I first saw it, I wasn't sure about it. But then the more I saw it, and it's here on my shirt mostly, I absolutely fell in love with it. And the artist that they use, shout out to this guy, his name is Dennis Forkas, Forkas. If you just Google search that, it's dennisforkas.com. And he has some incredible work on here. I really, really like his stuff. It's really I don't know how to describe it, astral, weird planes and stuff like that, and I fucking love it. But it also has the full image of the Hexed cover featuring Roy in all his glory, Children of Bodom's Grim Reaper mascot, and he's got his scythe and he's holding a church, and it's absolutely beautiful. I fucking love the cover of this album. So yeah, that's one of the big differences right off the bat from other albums. Now, let's get into it. For me, right now, these are probably my top 3 tracks right now. I'm not saying they're the best tracks. I'm also not saying that I will think they are the best tracks in the future, because I'm someone who, to really get to know an album, I like get obsessed with it, listen to it for like 2 months straight, nonstop, almost listen to nothing else, and then I'll put it down for like 3, 4, 5 months, and then I'll come back to it. And then when I come back to it that second time is really when I feel like I get like the full feel. I start to hear things I didn't hear before, and that's when I really feel like I get to know the album on a very intimate level. Now, I'm not going to like wait that long to put out reviews, especially for albums that I anticipate as much as this. And today, you know, I was driving, it was warm out, the windows were down, this album was all the way up, and I really fucking felt it, and I felt like I was ready to do the review. So for me, right now, one of my top tracks off the bat, first track on the album, The Road. It was one of the first singles, and it's fucking kicks the fucking door down. Welcome to Riff fucking City off the bat on this album. The Road opens up with this fucking monster riff, fast as fuck. It's an excellent song, and catchy as hell. Fucking almost has some groove element to it. I really fucking loved it. Absolutely one of my favorite tracks on the album. Probably at the moment my favorite track on the album, though, is another one of the singles, Platitudes and Barren Words. I just love, it's fucking fast and heavy as fuck, and I just fucking love the chorus. I think it's it's probably my favorite chorus on the album. Catchy as hell. I sing along to it every time. I really love the chorus of that song. Technical difficulties. Then another one that had a lot of people talking. Another one of the singles ended up being one of my favorite tracks, which is surprising actually, is Under Grass and Clover. It has a really upbeat tempo opening. It's like you turn it on with the windows down, and you just want to fucking go. And now the reason why it's a little bit surprising that I would put this on there is because during the verses, there's like a vocal effect on Alexi's voice. It's like dampened. It sounds like it's coming through like a smaller space, almost like he's yelling through a megaphone or something like that. It's a weird effect. Normally, I am absolutely against all effects, especially on these kind of vocals, the dirty style of vocals. However, Children of Bodom rarely does anything without a point to it. Like they use it, and I don't hate how they use it. It's almost like, because to me when I'm hearing it, it's like, yeah, it's got this weird dampened effect during the verses, but then during the chorus, it's not there. So it almost like changes the way the song moves in a sense, to where like the vocals aren't as much of a part during the verses, and then it all explodes and has this big effect during the chorus. And I think that's what they were, I don't know, but I think it feels like that's what they were going for, and I really enjoy them using it to that effect. And I'm glad that's the only, but I am really glad it's the only song on the album they use it for. And I think out of the 3 full verses, like in between the choruses, I think they only use it on the first 2. I think on the last one, I don't remember if it's there or not. I was trying to notice that earlier, and I don't think it was. But yeah, that's also one of the big things about, one of my favorite things about Alexi Laiho is his influences. Like here, when they fucking started, him and the drummer, they fucking started as Inner Earth, and they were, Alexi has talked a lot about his influence from 80s hard rock and heavy metal. Things like Wasp, Rat, Motley Crue, Randy Rhoads, and Ozzy Osbourne. And another thing I want to say about the cover really quick is the purple on it immediately reminded me of the purple on the tribute cover. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but that's just something I noticed. If you go back and look at the Ozzy Osbourne Randy Rhoads tribute album cover, very similar purple to both of them. I thought it was cool. But they also drew a lot of influence from Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, Metallica, Dio, Desecration, Entombed, Cannibal Corpse, Autopsy, Obituary. They drew influence, so pretty much it's crazy, from all the same areas that I personally love as well. And but specifically like the 80s hard rock, heavy metal of that era, there are certain songs on this album where I really feel like you hear Alexi's influence from that coming through. And I think that's a really cool thing. In particular, once again, Under Grass and Clover. If you, like I said earlier, it's kind of an upbeat riff at the beginning, but if you fucking make some slight tweaks to that and let it go a little bit longer than it does in the song, it's almost the intro to an awesome 80s metal anthem. And I really thought that was cool. Another song that I feel like you can hear that come through a lot in the riffs, especially the opening riffs and stuff, is Relapse Nature of My Crime. If you check that one out, I feel the opening riff of that one is similar. Or is similar in the sense of, like, could tweaked slightly, could almost be the intro to a great 80s metal anthem. Another song I wanted to mention really quick is Hecate's Nightmare. The reason why I wanted to mention it is because I thought it was really, it's a very different song. Children of Bodoms, see, if you go through their catalog, their songs don't often sound like the same, but they all sound Children of Bodom. You know what I mean? And this album is pretty diverse in the sense that they seem to step out of that Children of Bodom specific sound more often than in previous albums, or at all. So in that sense, it's a bit of a more diverse album, and I think the chances that they took I really enjoyed, like on Hecate's Nightmare. The intro to that song could almost be in the opening credits of a Tim Burton movie. Like, it's super, like, up and down, and like, dun, 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 like, creepy, but, like, moves, you know what I mean? Like, it's weird, but it's cool, and I like it. But yeah, when I first heard it, I was like, that's like that could be in a Tim Burton movie. Like, it has that feel to it, too, in a big bad way. I also absolutely, another one that's kicked down the door, Welcome to Riff fucking City, is Hexed, the title track. It's fucking Hexed! I feel like crowds are gonna chant that shit. It's fucking awesome, and I love it. And probably the heaviest song on the album is Kickin' the Spleen. That Kickin' the Spleen would be a song that's almost at home on almost any Children of Bodom album. It is very true to form. It is very Children of Bodom sounding, like I said before. Now this album, Hexed, is a 11-track album, unless you get the bonus version. The bonus version has a live version of I Worship Chaos and a live version of Morgan and a remix of Knuckle Duster. Knuckle Duster is the 11th track on this album, but it's not its first release. The song Knuckle Duster has actually come out before on an EP, I think from like 2004-ish, called Trash, Lost, and Strung Out. And it was a song on there, and it got really popular, actually, but it never found a home on any of their albums until now. And I think they definitely re-recorded it. It sounds a little bit different. They re-recorded it for the album, and yeah, I think it sounds. I love it. It's one of my favorite tracks. And yeah, it's fucking. So yeah, it's a 13-track album with the bonus songs, which include some live ones, and. Yeah, this it's for me, you know, it's one of my most anticipated albums of the year. Like I said, Children of Bodom has been in my top 3 favorite bands for a very long time, and you know, the album wasn't what I hoped, because something you see a lot lately, which I have been loving, a lot of bands just turning the dial up to 11 on how fucking heavy and hard they're gonna go. For example, the new Slipknot song. For example, the new Flesh God song, Sugar. The new... fuck, there was another one that I don't remember right now. But it seems to be something that a lot of bands are doing, even with the D. Snyder. His newest solo album, For the Love of Metal, is probably one of the heaviest albums he's ever done. A lot of bands are turning the dial up to 11 on how heavy they're going, and it's being very successful, and it's something that I really fucking love a lot. And that's something I was kind of hoping out of this album that I didn't get. However, I am happy with the other chances they took. And like I said earlier too, I really had a hard time trying to figure out how to come at reviewing this album, because it's like I really want to try to let this stuff let each album stand on its own, because there's no new, there's almost no time a band is going to release something new that you're going to love more than the first album that got you into them, because of that sentimental value that first album, it's the first one you found by them. And for me, things like Children of Bodom and Lamb of God, those first albums changed everything, have marked times in my life based on those albums. And so that's why I like to let stuff stand on its own. I don't like to fall into that trap of, they never release anything good anymore. I like to see the evolution of the artists that I love and where they want to take their music and their art and where it's all going. And so I try to let things just totally stand on their own, even though I contrast, for examples, to previous works. In terms of the rating, I really try to let it be on its own and let me rate it based on how it genuinely makes me feel in that moment, not how it makes me feel compared to how their other stuff has made me feel. And honestly, in the moment and hearing this album, being obsessed with it for the time that I've had it, I'm giving it a solid 4 out of 5 goat heads from Lost in the Dark. Absolutely. This album has been out since March 5th, I believe, and it was the first Friday of March it came out. From Nuclear Blast Records. It was it was March 8th, sorry. It was March 8th. Nuclear Blast Records. Been out for a few weeks now. If you haven't heard it yet, you've been sleeping, check it out. It's absolutely fucking phenomenal. One of the best albums to just crank in the car and roll the fucking windows down. Like I said, I give it a solid 4 out of 5 goat heads. I adore it. Probably my favorite release of the year so far. And yeah, I saw a few of the songs live when we went and saw them live, and live they were way heavier than they are on the album, and it was fantastic. So definitely check this one out. I absolutely love it. And yeah, that's about it. That's about it on the review. So be sure now to check out Recorruptor, a local Michigan band who is currently recording a new album. Check out their first album, which came out, I think, in 2017, called Blood Moon. It's fucking amazing. Be sure to check out Bogwraith. They released a new single last month called Monstrous, and it is tearing it up on YouTube. It's an amazing song. You definitely want to hear that shit. They also, be sure to follow them on social media. They have some shows coming up early summer, I think in May and June. And in terms of us, the next event we will be at a week from Wednesday, April 10th, we will be back at Harpo's for motherfucking Hatebreed, the 25th anniversary tour. Really looking forward to that one with Obituary, Cro-Mags, Fit for an Autopsy. It's going to be fucking unbelievable. And I was at Live Dominance, and it's one of the greatest shows I've ever been to. So, yeah, really looking forward to this one. And besides that, be sure to follow us and give us a rating and everything on iTunes. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Hit us up with any suggestions, anything you want to hear us review, anything at all. We love to hear from you crazy motherfuckers. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the review, and I hope you enjoyed Children of Bodom's newest album, Hexed, as much as I did. I thought it was outstanding. So shout out to Children of Bodom, one of my favorite bands of all time, and I hope to see them again soon. Thank you all for joining me in the crypt for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. I love you all to death. Good night.